I want to welcome you to this CREST deep dive on navigating career transitions. This particular deep dive will come to you in a number of small micro modules that deal with the matter of role exit. And then near the end, we're going to talk a little bit about what does it mean to enter a new role. We live in a time where there's a phrase that is going around called the Great Resignation. The number of people who are making career choices and moving from present vocations, present roles into perhaps a free fall of what might be next, or moving from where they are and hoping they can find something that allows them a new beginning. One writer says that the term Great Resignation has quite a negative connotation to it, so he puts forward that really this should be seen as a great exploration. But literally millions of people in North America are engaged in role exits, from educators to healthcare workers to clergy. A Barna report recently that came out a few weeks ago indicated that 40+% of pastors surveyed in the United States said they have seriously considered leaving the ministry since about March of 2022. So there's a kind of angst that is going on related to present roles. And this particular deep dive is dedicated to helping us understand a bit of the anatomy of what it means when we go through this transition, because it truly is a transition. And so we're going to look at the matter of exits and entrances, but for the most part, exits. Many years ago, and there's actually a portrayal of this in London, nearby where Tom Cruise sprained an ankle filming the sixth Mission Impossible. And this particular sculpture portrays 7 pictures. It's like a totem pole consisting of 7 faces. Underneath it is the homage from the famous speech by Shakespeare of As You Like It that many of us are familiar with. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. It's intriguing to look at the history of careers and roles and vocations, and to note that in Shakespeare's era, there were 7 stages. Later, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, there were portrayals, visual portrayals of how we go through life, and there were 12 stages. And it's intriguing that the portrayals were usually a ladder upward and then a ladder downward. And so there's a lot that's been written about careers and about roles. And these days, there's a rethinking of the shape of life and careers. In the most simplistic form, there's been a 3-chapter, we call it fallacy. And the 3-chapter fallacy is that when you're younger, you learn, you get educated, and then when you're in the middle of your life, you work hard and you achieve your success. And then when you are older, you coast in terms of speed down to a level where you are at a resting state. This is the education, work, retirement 3-chapter fallacy. Or if you want, when we're young, we study hard. When we're in middle age, we work hard. And when we are old, we rest and retire. Some have said it's like when we're young, we eat the appetizers in the meal of life. When we're in middle age, we eat the entree, the main course. And then when we're old, we should be able to enjoy some dessert. Or if you want, life is like a climb up a mountain. And when you're young, you prepare for the climb. When you're in middle age, you are making your way to the summit. And after middle age, when you begin to get older, you then descend down the mountain. Some have said this is quite not a pleasing or happy kind of portrayal of the longer arc of our lives. It feels like a linear conveyor belt to a cliff edge, and then off the cliff you go. The fact of the matter is we actually live multi-stage lives. Life is not a 3-course meal. Life is a vast smorgasbord, and it is delivered to us in bits and bytes. And most of us who are taking in this deep dive know that our own careers have been multifaceted, multi-staged. And so we need to basically set aside this 3-stage or even 7-stage life of Shakespeare, or the 12-stage life of the late 1900s, early 2000 or 1900s, late 1800s, and realized that life is actually quite a journey. It's a journey that often surprises us in terms of the changes and transitions that we go through. I want to commend you a book by Bruce Feiler. It's a relatively new book, Life is in the Transitions. It is very much suited for people who are in CREST because it deals with mastering change at any age. And within Bruce Feiler's book, what he does is he takes time to look at the fact that all of us, as we go through life, and it's actually a study of people in their career pathways. They surveyed and studied and interviewed hundreds of people, and they discovered that in these lives that they studied, there were about 50 things they called disruptors that we all go through. There are health disruptors, there are job and career disruptors, there are family relationship disruptors, there are meaning and purpose disruptors. In the midst of those disruptors, there are life quakes. Life quakes are of a more profound kind of impact. They are the things that truly shake us, and their estimate is that most people in a life course over the long arc of time may go through 5, 6, or 7 life quakes, things that truly jostle them in terms of their life course. The death of a loved one, the loss of a spouse or a child, a major career event that is cataclysmic in terms of one's identity and sense of who they are. This book, I commend it to you because early in the book, he deals with the fact that we have these kind of stage mindsets that life goes along and we go through from here to here to here, but actually life is a lot messier than that. So this particular deep dive is going to take us through the matter of what is the anatomy of, first of all, a role exit. And you may be at a place where you are thinking about leaving the present role you're in. And to realize that roles change, roles end, all through life. The important thing is to think about what is the deeper meaning and purpose that I have in life. In view of the present role I have, is that role in keeping with my meaning and purpose? Recently, Gallup in the US found that 2/3 of people in the workforce stated that they are thinking more deeply than ever in their life about meaning and purpose as it relates to their role, their present job, their present career path. And so these things come together as we think about role exits. We'll get to that when we go to a segment 2, where we're going to begin to talk about this matter of exiting a present role, which could be for you then an old role, and all the elements, the anatomy of what that looks like. We'll see you in segment 2.